All right, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy CV Tech One coming at you live and direct once again. This time we're going to react to Larry Bird making the case. Now, we've done 2 Larry Bird videos and people absolutely love Larry Bird. And a lot of the fans who watched him play when they were younger, I've seen people put in the comment section saying, hey man, I remember going to the games with my father, you know, so that memory is special to them. And I didn't get a chance to watch Larry Bird. Like I said before, I started watching basketball in 93, and that's when Larry Bird actually retired. And yeah, so we're here to watch this video because it's been highly requested, and a lot of people seems to think that this video will change my mind about Bird. Even though I think Larry Bird is a legend, I actually think I never had Larry Bird at top 5, but I'm starting to move a couple players around. Okay, so I did have Larry Bird at 7, but as I'm watching and learning about Bird, it's shifting. So all right, let's get into it.
Basketball is special. The size of the court and the lack of pads or helmets give fans the most intimate experience of a team sport that exists. And because of the different styles that basketball allows for, players develop their own distinct identities and signature styles through their creativity, flair,
Pistol Pete,
and athleticism. And although no player succeeds alone, the scoring volume and two-way nature of the sport give individual stars a nearly unprecedented amount of control over the flow and outcome of a game.
I remember watching that game.
For this reason, players are constantly compared to their peers and to the legends of the past in order to answer the most hotly contested question in the sport: who's the greatest to ever do it? For many, the question is redundant. They believe in only one right answer, their answer. Others might have their own personal stance, but acknowledge one or two alternatives. But I believe that there's much more nuance to the question of greatness and more answers to it than you might think.
I agree.
By my count, there are 8 players in NBA history that have a substantial...
And that's why in the videos I said, hey, watching a player live than just watching highlights tells you a lot. Because when you're watching a player live, you can tell how they move, when to move. The little things in a game that you don't show or doesn't even matter when it comes to highlights. Those are little things that I look for when I watch a smart player. You know, when to pass it, when to move, when to set a pick, when not to set a pick, just the feel of the game. So, and I think Larry Bird would have been one of those guys that I would love to watch just how he maneuvered, even without the ball. You know what I mean?
Claim as the GOAT. It's a subjective thing, though. I can't give you a definitive answer. All I can do is make the argument. So today, I'll be making the case for Larry Bird as the greatest basketball player of all time.
Let's do it, man. I'm ready. Let's do it. I heard this is a good video, and shout outs to this guy who made this video, Clayton. I actually contacted him on Twitter. He didn't hit me back.
When it comes to basketball, Larry Bird is the smartest, clutchest player to ever play the game. Now, if you don't think that Larry Bird is the greatest basketball player of all time, you probably hate that I just said that. Those are the kind of talking head sport cliches that surely impact the game, but are impossible to empirically measure. Normally, I'd agree with you, but I think that when you talk about Larry Bird, you see those intangibles become real, palpable results.
He is smart.
I wouldn't have said it if I didn't believe it. When Larry Bird was drafted by the Boston Celtics in 1978, the NBA needed saving. Attendance was in the toilet, the league had few marketable stars.
This man's about to say cocaine. By the way, guys, I know you guys probably hate when I pause, but listen, this is called reaction video. A lot of these little information we've seen on the other videos, so I'm thinking he's getting that out of the way. But he did say he was clutch too. That's one thing that the other 2 videos didn't talk about. So hopefully he'll, show us, some of the clutch moments that the other video did not cover. So
cocaine addiction had several players in its grasp, and most damning of all, playoff games were being tape delayed. Playoff games at the highest level of basketball were being put in the back seat for black and white movies and network reruns.
Oh, that's crazy.
But rather than join the Celtics after being taken 3rd overall, Larry Bird decided to return for his final year at Indiana State, a decision that would prove to be one of the most important in the history of the sport.
Okay, I thought he said Larry Bird was drafted but still decided to stay. Maybe I'm hearing things. Okay.
Bird's final year saw the Sycamores tear through college basketball, going 33-0 before the national championship game. Bird, already claimed by the NBA's most historic and prestigious franchise, had established himself as the generational talent who would inherit the mantle of pro basketball. Indiana State's opponent in the national championship was Michigan State, captained by the immortal Irvin Magic Johnson. The Sycamores lost the championship to the more talented Spartans in the highest-rated game in the history of basketball, at any level, still to this day.
That's crazy, man.
The stage had been set. The next decade of basketball would be defined by the rivalry between
Just the fact that with all the money, with all the channels nowadays, with all the, HD quality, that game is still today the highest, what do you say, highest watched game ever? That's crazy. Well, got 2 seconds on the clock. That's your boy Bird being clutch.
the White Hick from French Lick and his Boston Celtics would be defined by the rivalry between the White Hick from French Lick and his Boston Celtics
White Hick from
and the Black
French
Magic
Click?
and his Showtime Lakers. The rivalry between Bird and Johnson is entwined into the fabric of the NBA and is worthy of 100 documentaries. In this video, though, we're going to be looking at Bird's claim of supremacy. Here's Bird's basketball resume. His 3 championships come with perhaps the highest collective degree of difficulty of any player's championships. His 3
Really?
MVPs came consecutively, making him only the 3rd player to accomplish the feat, along with Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain.
That's
His
crazy.
2 finals MVPs are misleading. He was absolutely the best player on the 81 Celtics, but he was only a sophomore, and his 15 points per game in the finals gave the media an excuse to exact a little vengeance on a legendarily difficult interview. His All-Star and first-team selections also come with the caveat that Bird only played for 13 seasons and missed all but 6 games of the
you
89
guys see
season
that?
following surgeries on both feet.
He missed
I can
6
hear you
games after
already.
surgery.
A 13-year career, and this guy is supposed to be the GOAT? What color of paint are you huffing, Clayton?
I mean, I did say he did play 13 years, but I said he did a lot with 13 years. Now, before watching the other video, I would have said, yeah, you crazy. This
Green,
dude.
obviously. But hear me out. Yeah, Bird's career lasted about 2/3 as long as it should have. But what he did in that time was so impressive and so substantial that
Exactly.
every basketball fan acknowledges that he's in the conversation as the greatest ever. Doesn't it matter that those 13 years saved professional basketball, delivered a disproportionate amount of memorable moments, defined the
That's
golden
a
age
big
of the
deal.
league, and
He
produced a
saved the
career
league.
by which all other forwards, before or since, are measured? Bird squeezed every drop of talent out in those 13 years and made it seem more like 30. He didn't just leave his fingerprints on the game. He left so much of his DNA in the sport that it needed a cigarette afterwards. There's something to be said about the candle that lasts half as long but burns twice as bright. Those
Ooh,
3
yeah.
MVP years stack up with any other run by any other player. I will put an A+ Larry Bird
26.
season up against anyone's.
26,
What
6
does an
assists.
A+ Larry Bird season look like? A full box score, a blowout win, a nearly undefeated record at home, and a play style that could only be described one way: white. Larry Bird isn't just a white basketball player, he's the white basketball player. To describe Larry Bird's game is to thumb through the Hoops dictionary and pick out every cliche about white players. Unathletic, great shooter, good fundamentals, the whole thing.
I said the same thing on the last video, and some people didn't like that. I was like, bro, he just, like, Larry Bird looks like the guy at the YMCA, and as soon as he starts, like, shooting by himself, you're like, oh, we got to get him on the team. You know what I mean? Just a joke. You guys lighten up, man. He's saying the same thing.
The archetype of a white basketball player is Larry Bird, with one
Yeah.
exception. He had an unparalleled understanding of the game of basketball, both as a physical contest and as a mental competition. His basketball IQ infected everything he did and catapulted his
IQ
career
and
into
awareness
legend.
is crazy to me.
Bird was
and
a
also
complete player.
his IQ, awareness, and feel for the game. That you can't measure those things, man. The feel for the game is just as important as how good you shoot.
Jerry West called him nearly as perfect as you can get. He was the league's first great marksman. He could contort his body to shoot from anywhere on the court, regardless of the level of defense. He pioneered the art of the dagger 3 and was the founding member of the 50-40-90 club. At 6'9", Bird's understanding of angles and coordination led to a higher rebounding average than Patrick Ewing, and it made
I watched Patrick Ewing play. I know who that is. Okay,
him
that's
an impressively
impressive.
adept finisher in his younger years.
That's impressive.
86, Bird dropped 47 points on the Blazers, playing
left
the
hand.
majority of the game left-handed.
That's crazy
His
sick.
lack of quick lateral movement meant that Bird didn't do much when it came to slapping the floor and picking up the opposing point guard, but his size and omniscience gave him the ability to body similarly sized players, read defenses like a free safety, and pick off passing lanes with ease. His
That's
passing
nice.
was transcendent, and I'll highlight it later. And of course, you need to know that Larry Bird was a tough effort. He had a superhuman motor and dove for loose balls like a beagle at the park. He was a willing participant in his share of fights, often precipitated by his league-renowned trash talk.
I told Robert Reed he ought to stay there. He should have stayed in preaching. That was funny. He had 50 points. I was guarding in my rookie year. He looked at me and he
Said
goes,
drop 50.
"You can't stop me." And I looked at him and I said, "Gosh, boy, you're so confident." He proceeded to score like 10 straight points on me. The coach took me out the game. He walks by and he's laughing at me.
So Bird is a silent killer, huh?
He'd be a step ahead, a thought ahead.
He talked trash, but his personality was different.
Like a chess game. I'd much rather guard Michael Jordan than Larry Bird because you have to play chess game. I'd much rather guard Michael Jordan than Larry Bird because you have to play. I'd much rather guard Michael Jordan than Larry Bird because you.
James Worthy, Michael Jordan fans probably don't like you for saying that. But that's saying a lot, man. When a player that played against you say stuff like that, you got to listen to that.
You have to play the game as a thinker when you're playing him. You have to get inside his mind.
If you put all of us in a room, you know, Magic, Jordan, myself, and Bird probably be the guy who walks out of the room at the end of the day.
Did you notice something during those testimonies? Those are some of the best basketball players of all time. And they all sing Bird's praises like they were former assassins who had to go toe-to-toe with John Wick, and they're just happy to be alive. Bird excelled during one of the most
That's why I said Bird is a silent assassin. The silent killer,
list of his basketball rivals goes like this. Dr. J and Moses Malone on the Philadelphia 76ers, Sidney Moncrief on the Milwaukee Bucks, Isaiah Thomas, Bill Laimbeer and the Bad Boy Pistons, Dominique Wilkins on the Atlanta Hawks, Bernard King on the New York Knicks, Michael Jordan on the Chicago Bulls, Hakeem Olajuwon and Ralph Sampson on the Houston Rockets, and of course, Magic Johnson, James Worthy, and Kareem Abdul.
You know what's funny? These are all Hall of Famers, man. Just competing with each other. And here comes this slow white dude, right? That is crazy, though. I'm listening.
Jabbar on the Los Angeles Lakers. All right, there's no point avoiding it any longer. We have to look at Magic versus Larry. If you have Magic over Larry, it's because he has 5 rings to Larry's 3, had a peak that lasted about 2 or 3 years longer than Larry's, and had a 2-1 record against Bird's Celtics in the finals. Perfectly legitimate, completely respectable arguments. But in the interest of making Bird's case, allow me to retort. For nearly the entire decade of the 1980s, the Eastern Conference was irrefutably the more competitive conference between the two. Considering the competition, for Bird to have made 5 finals appearances is just as impressive as Magic's 9. As for the head-to-head record responsible for Magic's 2 extra titles, he had more help. Seriously, the Celtics' Big 3 and the Lakers' Big 3 get compared all the time historically as if they were of equal caliber, but aren't Magic's accomplices just a step above Bird's? No disrespect at all to Kevin McHale and Robert Parrish, but Kareem was the alpha dog on the 71 Bucks and was the best player for at least 2 of the Lakers' 5 titles. James Worthy was the #1 pick out of UNC after winning a championship as the best player on a team that had Michael Jordan on it. Throw in the fact that Magic got to be coached by Pat Riley, one of the most brilliant minds in basketball history, and you could say that the Magic-Bird argument comes down to one thing: luck. So if their careers come down to luck, the question just becomes who you would rather take. Now, I'm not making this video to tell you why you shouldn't take Magic. I'm making this video to tell you why you should take Bird. Not just over Magic, but over everybody. One thing that helps him is the fact that his play would translate perfectly into the league today. A 6'9" sharpshooting forward with eyes in the back of his head who averaged double-digit rebounds in an era against Moses and Laimbeer. He'd gobble up boards as a power forward. He'd be an offensive mismatch against everybody as a small ball center, and his off-ball skills and passing would pair perfectly with the flow of today's game. Add in his competitive mania and 3 generations worth of medical advancements, and we're talking about a player who could have stuck around so long they would have had to rename the league. As you've been watching these clips of Bird, I would hope that you would notice something. He always knows where everybody is. Watching Bird play basketball is like watching those monsters from A Quiet Place that know where you are if you make any noise at all. Bird had a level of clairvoyance that bordered on the unnatural. In '85, he ended up 1 steal away from a quadruple-double after playing just the first 3 quarters. His passing was famously infectious and helped transform the Celtics of the 80s into an ideal that basketball teams at all levels are still shown tape of. They moved the ball with precision and intent, always looking for better shots and determined to get the entire team involved in the effort. That fact is almost entirely attributable to Bird and his wizardry with the ball. This acumen also helped Bird become the only player with a GOAT claim to transition successfully into other basketball roles after his playing career. In his 3 years as the head coach of the Pacers, Bird won a Coach of the Year award, coached the Pacers to their first and only finals appearance, and gave Michael Jordan as much trouble as he'd ever gotten in his career in the '98 Eastern Conference Finals.
You know what's funny? I was watching basketball around this time, but it never, because I didn't know about Bird, so it never dawned on me to sit and think and go, he's coaching against Jordan. Can you imagine how that must feel for him, just watching Jordan out there running around and he's just sitting there coaching and he can't be out there? That must have been crazy for him, especially as a competitive player that he was. And it's Michael, you know?
After moving into a front office role for Indiana, he won Executive of the Year in 2012, becoming the only person to have an MVP, Coach of the Year, and Executive of the Year award. On the court or off of it, inside and out, Larry Bird sees basketball as only he can. That intelligence also lent itself to Bird's defining skill, making the big plays. Remember, NBA players get paid to win games. James Harden is getting paid nearly $40 million this year because he's supposed to help the Rockets win games. Victory can be achieved in a lot of ways, and the win column doesn't care how it happens. As Mark Sinclair once said,
"It don't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning."
But when your team is down 1 in a crucial playoff game with 8 seconds left, and you need to hit a shot to stay in the series and keep your season alive, that's where players really separate themselves and earn their money. Love it or hate it, it's the players that come through in the big moments that live forever in our memories. Some players, for whatever reason, were never able to do it consistently. Some players were truly outstanding at it. Larry Bird was the best at it.
Wow. Tell me,
I'm not going to give you the stats about his field goal shooting under 2 minutes with a score that's this close, or tell you who has the most buzzer beaters, or any of that.
Take that for data.
I'm just going to show you clutch moments in clutch situations. 1985 against the Blazers. Bird drops 48 points, including this. Down 1 with 2 seconds left.
It depends on what it is, you know. It's pretty good, man. That's a
1985 against the Hawks. Bird sets the Celtics scoring record with 60 points with shots like these.
They open the right side. Bird the fall away.
Oh, this one, the bench was just like, who is this guy?
1986 against the Rockets. Not all of Bird's clutch moments were singular. The bigger the moment, the bigger his performance. In Game 6 of the 1986 NBA Finals, Bird clinches the championship with a triple-double in what he calls the best game he ever played.
2 seconds on the shot clock.
See, that's my point. It's little things like that that I watching live makes a difference.
1987 against the Washington Bullets. Bird hits one shot to tie it before it's waved off because of a timeout. Hits another shot to tie it up for real.
But what was the significance of this game, though? Was it a playoff?
And then in double overtime, down 1, he does this.
Again. Bro, those 3 different shots, and one was called a timeout.
For 3 years, from 1986 to 1988, the three-point contest knew no other champion but Larry Bird.
He's still got to drop one here quickly. 14. This is a tie for the money. Yo!
I will say this: he's making a point that Larry is clutch, and I'm seeing it. I'm with him on this, but he's not the best three-point shooter. I'll say that. And I know you guys might challenge me on that, but he's not the greatest three-point shooter. I can definitely tell you that. Clutch is different, so. And I'm not saying he can't shoot either. I'm just saying he's not the best.
Game 5. Tied at 2 games apiece against the Bad Boy Pistons, this enormous game would put the winner 1 game away from the NBA Finals. The Pistons are up 1 with seconds remaining. The ball goes out of bounds off the Celtics.
It's when it counts.
Thomas just needs to inbound the ball to win the game.
So this is important. Oh, it's when he stole it. Stole it to DJ. I love that call, man. This is not some regular season stuff.
Big games and big moments for me to go through without this ending up as a documentary. But that all leads me to this, what I really want to talk about. 1987, NBA Finals, Game 4 against the Lakers. LA is up 2-1, and the Celtics need to win to tie the series and stay alive. Bird hits a 3 with 12 seconds left to go up by 2.
Bird goes for 3.
That's a huge shot, man.
Kareem comes down and gets fouled with 8 seconds left. He makes the first, but misses the second. LA ends up with the ball with 7 seconds left, down 1 point.
Wow. So, wait, this is the hook shot. Oh, this is that floater in the middle by Magic, isn't it? I never knew that Lakers missed a free throw to tie it and they got the ball. That is crazy luck. Because the guy did say there was some luck involved between Magic and Bird, right? That's one of the luck right there to get the ball back. And if this is where Magic hit that, I think this is it. But they got the ball back because it went out of bounds.
Magic hits this, the baby skyhook.
Bro, that's
2 seconds left. Down 1.
That was clutch. Oh, this is where he missed. Bird had a good look.
What do you think happens?
Oh, he missed. I've seen this.
I bet it wasn't that. When I paused the tape and the ball was hanging in the air, you thought it was going in. Bird thought it was going in. Magic thought it was going in.
That's crazy, man.
I've seen this game before, and I still think it's going to go in. But it didn't. Pat Riley said it himself. We got lucky. And that, a missed shot in the NBA Finals, is why he's the clutchest. Because after he makes the big plays, has the big games, hits the big shots, time and time again, you expect him to hit every shot, to win every game. And in those fleeting moments when he doesn't, when he looks like a mere human, when he looks like everyone else who tries to do what he does, you just can't believe it. That's what Larry Bird did. He made the big plays so often you thought he was going to make them every time. He helped turn basketball into a global phenomenon, paving the way for every Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, or LeBron James who comes through our lives. He played basketball in its purest form and captained a team that is consistently ranked among the greatest of all time. He has the second highest win percentage in the history of the NBA, behind Magic by less than 0.5%.
That's
about 10
nuts.
Games.
That's pretty good,
he was
man.
The complete package, a player with no holes in his game whatsoever. They called him Basketball Jesus. He didn't get that name.
Why? Is it because he's white? Just a joke. Just a joke. Relax.
Without doing something extraordinary.
Relax.
He saved basketball. And he did it by playing it better than anyone else. Here's Magic at Bird's retirement in 1993.
Larry Bird said that there would be another Larry Bird one day. And Larry, there will never, ever, ever be
powerful words, man.
Larry Bird. To the greatest basketball player ever, but more important, a friend forever.
That's respect. Powerful words, man. That's a lot of respect, man. Hey, listen, man. This was a good video. I know a lot of people recommend that I do watch it. I think Bird is great. I keep calling him Larry Legend, right? I had him around 7 on my list, and I do want to watch the other players because a lot of people are saying I should watch the other guys and, you know, making the case, and I'll do that. And then after that, I can go ahead and maybe I'll make a video with my top 10 player of all time, you know, but I want to watch this whole series and then do an actual video of just me talking to you guys and giving my opinions. And I know a lot of people's not going to agree, obviously, because, you know, we got people who got Bird at 1, Bird at 3, Jordan 2, Jordan 1. So it depends who you talk to. But I think the injuries that Larry Bird went through, I think obviously that didn't help. I think, you know, if he played probably another 3-4 years, the numbers will look different, obviously. And who knows? And one thing this guy did not mention is that when he got the MVP, I believe he was like runner up 3 times or 2 times in a row. So where he was like second place or something like that. I know a couple of people said that to me. So that's a big deal, man. So yeah, Larry Legend. And if you're a fan of Larry and you think he's number 1, I'm not going to argue that. I do want to watch the other making the case. And after we watch the whole series, I think I'm going to do a video giving you my top 10 and why. And maybe not top 10 because maybe we'll leave room there for, you know, players who are still playing like LeBron, Curry. We'll see how that goes, you know. Maybe after this year's over, we'll do that. But yo, shout outs to you guys, man, who requested this. Shout outs to Larry Bird fans. Shout outs to the basketball fans. And yeah, we'll keep doing it, man. We'll keep learning, and we'll see who's top 10 of all time. Till next time, peace.